So thanks everybody for coming and joining us over here. So we'll be talking about how to run an online studio. I know for a lot of Pilates and yoga instructors and teachers, this is kind of like a great way to add extra income and also reach more, kind of like more of a global audience with your practice with what you love. So you can continue doing what you love regardless of where you live or where you travel, or and you don't really need that much investment as well into your brick and mortar studio, into your equipment, into all these things that go into running a studio. And I'll let Jessica and Carrie in a minute talk also a little bit about their stories and how they got into it. But so that you guys know, there will be a replay of this webinar available. So if you're watching the replay, great. If you're watching live with us, then you'll be able to rewatch it. And I'll also make sure to send out a PDF with slides and also any other information that we might catch over here during the webinar, like in a couple of days, so you have some of the notes and things like that. So you can go back to that anytime. Oh, here's Carrie. Hey.
I apologize. I feel like I shouldn't even say I'm sorry. It's so obvious, but
no problem. Main thing that we're all here. So I will let Jessica and Carrie introduce themselves and kind of share their story, how they ended up being online studio owners. And we'll get started with the webinar. So Jessica, we'll let you go first over here.
Great. Well, I'd owned brick and mortar for almost 10 years, and we had our daughter. And when she was 1, we moved from Hawaii to the mainland. And the simple story is that it was very hard to manage 2 studios and 19 staff members from that far away. I mean, it's hard anyway, right? But it was really hard from far away. So we got it in our minds that it was probably time to sell. And in the midst of that, I had some clients in Hawaii texting me saying, what were those knee exercises that you wanted me to do? I don't remember. And I thought, okay, well, I can't really send my drawings of stick figures through email. How do I do this? And I said, I'll just video myself doing those exercises and I'll send them to you. And the file size got too big. And I thought, well, shoot, I can't text. I'm not technologically advanced. I can't text this huge file. I think I can put it on YouTube and probably have them watch that way. And that's literally how it started for me, was I threw this exercise and this workout up thinking it was just for my clients back in Hawaii who I missed. And I realized after a while that there was something there and I could probably make a little money and I could still do what I love and serve people while staying home with my child, while trying to sell these studios and manage. And so it kind of organically worked that way. But that's how it really started for me, was I felt like I just jumped into it because I wanted to serve my clients and that was the best way to do it. And it ended up really giving me a way to kind of do both, still do what I loved, but be home more, which was, and kind of becoming my goal with young kids.
Yeah. And if you guys don't know Jessica, she is the owner of JessicaValantPilates.com. She has a YouTube channel, and she'll talk a little bit about her YouTube channel as well during this webinar. And she does amazing videos and posts blogs and, a lot of great things. And her work is very specific. So we'll talk a little bit about her ideal audience and the people that she works with, but she definitely provides some really specific work for primarily women who need help staying fit and going on with their lives. So now it's time for Carrie. So Carrie, let us know a little bit about yourself.
Hi. I got started with, I guess my story first it starts with, I started teaching Pilates 20 years ago. So I've been teaching for a really long time. And in 2016, I submitted a video audition for the next Pilates Anytime instructor competition. And I was, the way I put it, kind of a nobody in the Pilates world, in this world of people knowing each other. I was trained by a program that doesn't exist anymore, so I wasn't even trained by Balanced Body or Peak or any, training program that had any recognition. So I really just felt like if I was going to have a chance at getting anywhere in the competition, that I needed to get people to know who I was. So I started about the day that I submitted the video. I hadn't even made the top 10. I started posting videos of myself doing exercises, sometimes tutorials, sometimes, just little things here or there. And I just tried to grow interest in me. I was lucky enough to make the top 10. And then I eventually, to this day, I can't believe it, but I won. And so that was really special. And I went out to Pilates Anytime and filmed my videos the first time. And I was a dancer, and I like performing. And I like, it was like being on stage again, and not like in a way that was real showboaty, but it just felt so, I was so nervous. But then when the camera started and the lesson began, it was like the two things I've loved the most in my life, performing and teaching Pilates. And I finished and I was like, I can't not do this ever again. Like, this is, I love it. So I came home, and my husband found Anastasia's information online. I think it's so funny. I couldn't find anyone who, could do this for me. And somehow my husband came across your information, Anastasia, and even funnier, she lives like 3 hours from me. It was just really cool that we kind of came across that. And I have a tendency to come up with ideas of things to do, and before I think them through very far, I just go. And that is really how I was like, oh, I want to keep filming. And just one last thing. I mean, what the other thing that was interesting about the story is just that I was doing these 1-minute video clips on Instagram every day and taking it pretty seriously and trying pretty hard to make them look good. And in my mind, I was like, oh, it's just adding, 20 minutes to an hour to those clips. So that's, I was already filming myself, so I thought, why not just film longer?
Yeah. So again, Carrie, she is the owner of Carrie Pages Pilates. And yeah, hi, Nicole. I'm just kind of like reading the comments over there as well. So she's the owner of carriepagespilates.com, and she offers great tutorials and short videos that are primarily focused on Pilates teachers and how to improve your cueing, how to improve your practice, your teaching, but also how to fit in those short workouts as a teacher when you don't have an hour to work out for a full session, things like that. So she's really great at what she's doing. So we have two amazing women over here, and they have kind of like same idea of having an online studio, but both of their like ideal clients, ideal students, they're completely different, right? Mm-hmm. So they started, it's more student-based as opposed to more teacher-based, which just shows that there are different ways for you guys to market yourself. It's just because there's Pilates Anytime or Pilatesology or all those other people out there doesn't mean that, oh, this market is stepped out and I have nobody to reach, because people like to work with the instructors, the teachers that they admire and whose teaching style that they can really relate to. So I got connected with both Jessica and Carrie through my work, through creating websites for them. So that's kind of like my part here. I've been doing videos on and off for a long time. Also, I just do them for YouTube, but I never created membership or anything like that for myself. But I really enjoy I really enjoy helping other Pilates teachers and movement professionals to really take their passion to that next level. So, you get more comfortable in front of the camera, you can reach more people, you can do all those things. And we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the other benefits as well. So I know you guys, I received a lot of questions before the webinar, and I'll try to kind of like compile them into several major areas. So the first thing that most people ask is, the technology that you need for filming videos. So I asked both Jessica and Carrie just to kind of let us know, what does it actually take to become a video producer? You know, do you need to spend a lot of money? Do you need to have a whole video studio out there? What do you start with? So I think I have Jessica's slides first. So we'll let Jessica talk a little bit about how she started, what kind of equipment you use, how easy or how difficult it is to start it.
I would say it's both easy and difficult. I don't want to look back now and say it's easy because at the time I was so overwhelmed. So I did a lot of online education. I paid a lot of money to go through courses to kind of figure this stuff out, which you do not need to do. I don't think you need to unless you want to invest and do that. But at the same time, it's important, I think, to do a little bit on your own. And there's so much information out there right now. I mean, you could just Google the best video equipment for a vlog and you can get so much. You know, you can do the best under $20, the best $100. There's some really great resources out there. I'll give one real quick. Sean Cannell, Sean, and his last name is, I think, Cannell. He has some awesome YouTube videos all about this, like quick, easy watches. So he wasn't really around when I started this years ago, but he's a great resource. So yeah, I will tell you the few things I use. You'll see there the Canon. That is the video recorder I first got when I decided I was going to try and really do this. That's the video camera I got. We already had a tripod for it. To be honest, it's worked fine, but it's not the best. Nowadays, this thing is the best that I have, that I'm willing to spend right now. So recently, I had to use this because I think my Canon died and I was in the middle of filming. And so I'm like, I have to throw out my iPhone. So I got to compare side to side the exact same video because I did half with the Canon and half with my iPhone. The iPhone was so much better. It was clearer. It was more crisp. So I think that camera is a great starter, but maybe the newer model. But don't be afraid just to use your phone to start. It's amazing. The problem is going to be just getting it off your phone so it doesn't take so much memory. So you need to kind of start thinking about that and having external hard drives have backup upon backup upon backup, because I've lost videos and it's a bummer when you lose 45-minute videos. Carrie can probably attest to that. It's a big old bummer. So just have backups. But sorry, I'm going off script a little bit here. So iPhone is awesome. If you don't want to spend more, your iPhone's great. But that's the camera I do still have and use sometimes. The bigger things are going to be, you need good audio and you need good lighting, period. That's just what you have to have. And people will get on you for it if you don't have it. So that's the lavalier mic that I use, because in fitness it can be hard. Carrie can talk about what she uses. I use the lavalier mic, and sometimes I pin it on, but sometimes I just run it and place it close to me so it picks up the sound, because I don't have a Bluetooth microphone right now that I use.
I was going to ask you if it was wireless or wired.
No, it's wired, and because it's $20, you guys. I mean, these things are, it's like $19.99. But there's another one you can get. You can get some that fit right into your iPhone, and it's a little teeny mic, and it'll pick up sound really well too. So if I go only to my iPhone, I'm just going to get one of those. But either one I think works great, as long as you're in a contained space without a lot of ambient noise, then they'll pick you up. So that's important. And then I think the lighting is really important. That softbox kit, if you look it up on Amazon, it looks complicated. It's just those big photography lights. Again, I think it was $39 and they work great. So those work great. And then I have a ring light. If you don't know what that is, your phone fits right in it, and it's a light around it, and it has a tripod that comes with it. And that's awesome too. But I just bought that and it's $89. What? No, go ahead.
Do you use that ring light only if you're doing like face-to-face, or do you use that for movement?
So good question. I got it only to do vlogs, because I started to do more vlogs and things. So I got it just for face to face. Like I should be using it right now. You can see, like, if you guys just look at Carrie's face, are you using yours? Yeah. So look at Carrie's face and look at mine, and you can see that is the difference with the ring light. Like, look at how bright and awesome she looks, and look at how dark with shadows. But that's a ring light, so it's awesome. So I use my ring light to film every one of my March Madness videos. So if you want to see what it looks like, just go on Instagram. And I used it, and I realized this is pretty awesome and a lot easier than setting up my softbox. So I've
Yes.
started to use that. So that's my long and short of my, and then I use iMovie. Again, I don't think it's the best, but I know it really well now. And I edit my own videos. That's going to be a question. I edit every single one of my videos myself, and I can do it pretty fast with iMovie right now. Eventually an investment would be to get someone else to edit them for me, but I do it right now.
Sounds good.
Stuff. Yeah.
Well, how about you, Carrie?
So I've had my online studio for, I think it's been 3 years exactly. I think I launched it in April. So yay, happy birthday. When I started, I only used my iPhone. And then I got an iPad. And I got one of the things I wanted to mention is really what you are looking for is resolution. So say you have, I know this stuff so well. I know that an iPhone 8 Plus has better resolution than the iPhone 8. So the iPhone 8 Plus and the iPhone X, you're going to get 4K resolution. And that's going to give you your prettiest picture that you can get. The problem, and this is where I finally had to take, my husband ordered me the camera because I think he was sick of me coming home crying. But the iPad and the iPhone, if you get a phone call or some other things that would happen, I can't even remember right now, but the phone call would be the biggest thing. If you don't have it set on, like with your Wi-Fi off, it will interrupt your video. So you're in the middle of videoing and a call comes through 3 minutes in, and because of the way that you have your camera set up, if you flip your camera so you can see yourself moving, the resolution isn't as good. Unless I'm wrong, Jessica, do you find that?
No, I find if I flip it, it's not as good. And I do have to remember to put it on. I have to put it on airplane mode, or that happens. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, right. You're right. But you're still, if you're like me, you're an idiot half of the time of your life. And like, I just couldn't remember to do it all. So then I got the iPad. I was like, oh my gosh, the iPad's going to fix it. Well, the iPad gets notifications too. And the biggest problem I had is you have to be logged in through your Apple ID. And there would still be, I still kept screwing it up. And I mean, anyways, and then one Christmas, I like filmed 6 hours of content before Christmas. So I have it all, and the iPad locked me out. And all my content was gone, and it was devastating. So that was the Christmas I got this Panasonic full HD camcorder. I love it. I didn't know that it would make a difference. It's basically just a video camera that you use SD cards in, but it has the little thing.
And honestly, while she's finding it, like I might even switch if she loves this one, because my Canon is old enough. I just need something new. And I do think the iPhone is really crisp and clear. So I would say just don't let any of this scare you to start. Like just start. Use the iPhone to start. You can make it happen. But if you do want to take it to the next level, I do think it's nice to have that separate setup. You know, like this is my video setup. This is my video camera. These are my lights. These are my mic. So I might look into this one if you love it.
Well, and Jessica, I'm so glad you said that, because do not let anything we say scare you. When you start doing it, things happen. And sometimes they hurt your heart. And so you kind of remember those things. But I absolutely agree. Just start doing it. Do not hesitate to start, because you're never going to get there if you don't start.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my little camera. What I love the most is that this little guy, the thing comes out, and then I can flip it. Yeah. So I can see if I'm indeed being filmed. I can see if the battery dies. It just will shut down, and I just keep an eye on that little screen every once in a while. It's my favorite thing about my camera. The other thing that I just got that I didn't have when I first got the camera, but then we started looking at it, and again, my husband looked all this stuff up. He found this external mic, and I don't think I can get my hands on it right now. Anyways, that's okay. It just plugs into the back of the camcorder, and it's like a little like rod that goes out, and it blows my mind how fantastic it makes the sound quality. The camera alone was great, but that little, and it's not a lavalier where you have to be connected.
Yep.
You really can't believe how great it is without it being a wireless lavalier
Right.
mic.
Yep.
And the biggest thing to get your audio, I use iMovie also, just like Jessica. If you use iMovie to edit, the best thing they have is a noise reduction button that you click. And that thing will get rid of all of your background noise and make it sound, your videos sound even better than you can believe. So if you have iMovie and that's what you're using, I highly recommend that.
Yep.
Yeah, iMovie is actually pretty good at doing most of your edits. It's not super professional, but as long as you don't have to cut and paste the video a lot of times, it's like it's an exercise video. It's not like you have to combine a ton of things.
Right.
You might have to trim something or, you know, do minor things, but it's not like you're creating this movie style presentation. Something else I wanted to add to both Jessica's and Carrie's like talk about the equipment is that I find, and I had those scares where you lose the video or something went wrong with the phone or whatever, the camera or something like that. So I started using 2 cameras, just like your main one and a backup. And you can use, again, if you have a camera, use your iPhone or your Android device. I have a Motorola that I use for a lot of the filming. So try to set it up, maybe just do an angle, and then you can maybe use both of those angles when you're editing your video. But at least you will have a backup. I had things where one, for some reason, the sound will disappear on one of the videos. Or there will be some kind of things like that. So at least I'll have sound from another camera. And when you're creating a video, and I don't know if you ladies doing that, and if you're editing your video in iMovie, sometimes it can be hard when you're beginning to like sync if you have like an audio file, audio track and a video track. So what you would do, the easiest way is just before, when you're ready to start filming, just clap. And first of all, it will show a big spike on your audio sync track in iMovie or any other, whatever you use to edit, so you can easily cut it in the same spot instead of trying to figure out like all those times that you're setting up and walking and all that kind of stuff. So this is kind of like a simple little trick that you can use to do it, to, you know, get around it. So with Gail, so with iMovie, you can trim in the middle and the end, wherever. You can split the clip, you can add a clip inside of it. It's kind of, you can do anything. You can override one clip on top of the other one. So as far as that goes, it has all that functionality, and it's already free if you own a Mac or Apple device.
And I've even done it where I will do like a screenshot of, let's say, a presentation. So I'll do a slideshow and I record it on my computer. Then I put it into iMovie and then I voice over it because they have a recording function. So sometimes when I've lost audio, or if I'm just in a place where I'm like, I don't want to do both at the same time, I need to think this through. A lot of your editing software will let you do that, where maybe you just put the video up and then you audio over it. And Sarah Beth Yoga is a huge YouTube personality for yoga. And I don't know if she still does, but all of her older videos were made that way. And she got like almost 1 million subscribers doing it that way, where she just tapes herself working out and then it's her voiceover giving instructions. So again, don't let yourself freak out about something like that, because some people don't mind.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be faster also if you're not used to speaking, just because you're trying to get all those cues in and all those things. And when you do a voiceover, it helps you relax. You can write your script if you don't feel comfortable talking in front of the camera, or also you can be more concise with how you're speaking, what you're presenting, so that people can flow through the workout faster instead of talking about setup and all the other things. So it just kind of like depends. Both ways are great. It's just as long as it works for you, that, you know, that's the great thing. Right. All right, so let's move over from here. And if anybody has any other questions, make sure to So about products and pricing, we'll talk a little bit about that. Diana, I'm answering your question. Like we're gonna talk about that in the marketing part of the presentation is gonna be at the end. So we'll talk about that as well. So creating and managing a website, I will just kind of go over it real fast. Jessica and Carrie can add to it if you guys, have questions about it. More questions, just make sure that you ask them in the comments. So we have several options, but the most common ones these days is just creating your personal website using your hosting provider and what we use with both Jessica um, and Carrie about I'm just reading comments and trying to talk at the same time. Doesn't work that well. So you have a self-hosted website, and we're using WordPress.org, which is a free open source content management system. A lot of websites these days are built on it. It's secure, it's developed, and again, it's free for everybody to use. And it keeps evolving, and it has great options. It takes some time to get used to how everything works in there, but it's not rocket science. It just will require you some time to practice and try to figure things out. It's not that complicated. Another thing that many people use is Kajabi. But it can work. It's going to be a little bit more expensive because usually with a hosting service, the bottom of the line hosting starts at around $3 to $5 per month. With Kajabi, you're about $150 a month. That's their bottom line starting. But they do have some other features that are added into it. So they work better for like if you have an online course or you're selling workshops or things like that, because they have a limit on how many videos you can upload and um, some of the other stipulations that they have, and they won't create this like real online studio layout where people can easily search and everything. So if you have like a program that you want people to sign up for and you want to simplify the process, so kind of like almost like cookie cutter step by step, then Kajabi can be a good option for you. Same as like Teachable is kind of similar to Kajabi in that sense, but it's more course related or workshop related. So when we're talking about any kind of video website, we want to make sure that you have hosting for your video. So you never want to upload whatever videos that you have to your hosting provider, even if you have already an account with somebody. You want to have a dedicated video hosting provider for that because it's going to be faster. Your hosting is going to tap out on their resources pretty fast. It's just not a smart thing to do because most of the videos are going to be 1 gig or larger, and you might be uploading several of them a week or a month. So you definitely want to have video hosting provider. You can use the easiest way is to start with YouTube because it's free. Anybody can create an account. Anybody can create a channel. You can make money with YouTube once you get enough subscribers by running ads on your videos. And again, I'll let Jessica talk a little bit more about that. But it's also a great marketing platform for your business, for your studio. So whatever it is that you're going to be doing, you can market through YouTube because you'll get more traffic that way. Another option, well, actually it takes two, is Vimeo. They have a free tier that you can create, but you can't use their free service for any commercial kind of work. They will close your account, and there is a limit to how many videos you can upload and the size of the videos and things like that. So a better way is using Vimeo Pro for that, which runs at about $20 a month, which is very reasonable. And it gives you, usually, I think for their basic plan, it gives you all the resources that you need to run an online studio. Did you ladies ever get like tapped out of your monthly limits or anything like that with Vimeo?
No,
I haven't with Vimeo.
I mean, I think it happened one time when I was just uploading a ton of content one week, but no.
Yeah. Yeah, usually it's very, yeah, you can get it done. And again, it's very reasonable as well. And they have great, great, um, integrations with websites where the video will appear actually on your website. Nobody will know that it's coming from Vimeo. It's going to be all private label. It's going to be all one part of your website. Another option is Wistia, which is also a professional video hosting provider. Um, and but it offers some more stats and things like that, analytics, but it's a lot more expensive. So they're starting right now at about $100 to $99 per month. They have a free tier, but I think you can have only 3 videos through their free tier right now. So that's kind of like an overview. And when you're putting your website together, as far as like the technology that goes into it, you have to basically link your video hosting provider with your website provider, so you can market to people, you can send people to your from your Facebook, from your Instagram, whatever it is that you're using, you're going to be sending them to your website. And obviously, your website should be able to take payments, keep track of all of that, make sure all those cancellations, people can log in, and all that stuff. And there are plugins and different resources. Some of them you have to pay continuously. Some of them it's a one-time fee. You set it up and get it done. But that's kind of like the general overview of what it's all about.
Can I throw in something really quick? I
Mhm.
think just again, so you guys don't get overwhelmed, you have a lot of options. And so video hosting, just what it means is your videos have to live somewhere. You could put them right on your website, but what Anastasia was saying is it takes up so much memory and so much space, it's going to pretty much crash your website. So that's why
Yeah.
someone else hosts your videos, but then you can watch them on your website. And so I think that's one thing to know. And another is it depends on how you want to use them. Like if you're just using them as basic instructional videos, then you might be able to just write a blog post and bring them in here and there. For Carrie and I, and if you go this route where you want a membership site, then it is a whole other animal of bringing in other software. Like I use MemberPress, and then they take care of like what Anastasia was just saying about taking payments and cancellations. If you're thinking, oh my gosh, that's crazy, you just hire or you basically get software that takes care of that for you. It doesn't mean there's never problems. For sure, I'm on customer service quite a bit with that kind of stuff, but they take care of all that. I don't know. Who do you use, Carrie, for yours?
Vimeo.
Okay,
Oh,
you use for your
Stripe.
membership part. Stripe, yeah.
You have Carrie uses S2 member with Stripe integration. Yeah,
with Stripe.
That's
okay.
what she
Yeah,
needs.
I know. I knew that, but sorry.
Yeah, and there are like if you're using WordPress, there are different plugins. Some of them you can get started with them for free. Some of them they're paid ones. It just depends on what options you need, what kind of integrations and things like that. But you can absolutely get started if you are tech savvy and you want to explore that kind of route. You can get started with that for free. You can take payments through PayPal. Anybody can open a PayPal account. Stripe has similar costs as PayPal for that kind of stuff. So it's all, it can be very scalable. You can get started with just YouTube videos and a blog, and just that might be enough just to kind of get your word out. And then over time, you can really progress. So website maintenance. So what do you ladies would think that like obviously you have certain costs like the hosting and Vimeo that we covered that, and more importantly time commitment. So you have your time creating videos, but other than that, what is your website or online studio maintenance look like?
For me, I would say like I try to batch. So the way I set up at least my membership, they get 2 brand new workout videos every month. So I need to have those ready to go. Those are full length. And then I post to YouTube once a week. And I alternate with exercises and vlogs, and they're shorter videos. That's how I do it. Is my YouTube content's free, but it's much shorter stuff. If you want to pay for the ad-free full length stuff, then you do the membership. So knowing that, I would say that's the first thing, is just find out your schedule. How are you going to use it? How are you going to post? When are you going to post? For me, it's a lot easier to set that up. Then I plan out the month. I mean, sometimes I plan out 6 months. Like right now, I know the next 6 months, what videos are going to be released when. Not because I'm organized, only because that's the only way I'll remember to film them. Otherwise, I just forget, and I'm like, oh shoot, I have a YouTube video tonight I have to do. So, and then I just make filming days, and I try to batch as much as possible. So I'll do half a day of filming. I mean, probably each month I'll do maybe 4 to 6 hours of filming per month. Honestly, I mean, not very much. It's the editing and the planning and kind of getting out the lights. That's the stuff that takes more time for me. So I don't know, for each video, it takes me 20 minutes to edit it. It's not that long. And then you've got like another 20 minutes to get it uploaded and everything to the right place. And then it takes me 2 hours the day before it all goes live to make sure it's doing the right thing. And then the bigger part for me, at least, is just the marketing of it, like making sure I get it all out on social media. I send my email letters out at the right time and all of that. But website maintenance itself doesn't take very much unless I have a problem. And then it takes a lot because you're freaking out about it. And then for costs, like I feel like MemberPress is maybe $200 or $300 a year. Then you have like your GoDaddy, you have to do domain renewals. There's a security that I pay every year. That's probably $200 to keep all my websites secure. And then all your merchant fees. I feel like that's the biggest thing, is just like if you're taking credit cards in your studio, you have to pay merchant fees. But other than that, I mean, there's not, I don't know. I don't know if I covered everything. I mean, it feels like it takes up full days, but I would say that's the bulk of it. And then a lot of customer service. A lot of customers.
You're dealing with people, right? Even if they're online people, they're still people.
So a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah. So how about you, Carrie?
So really, as far as cost goes, I mean, that's what I was going to say as well. I mean, just those annual things. For me, yeah, I mean, I wrote down also just the merchant fees and stuff like that. That just comes right out though. So, you know, I don't think about that much because I just try not to. I mean, it needs to be so easy that you using things like either PayPal or Stripe, or, you know, the ones that take what is it, guys? It's like 2% and 30%.
2.9, right? 2.9. Yeah.
Yeah, PayPal's 3, I think. I feel like Stripe is 3.5 or something.
Yeah, and I mean, it just kind of, to me, it just is what it is. I mean, I don't use those for my actual brick and mortar studio because I started that business a long time ago, and that income is different to me. But when I started my online studio, it was just this new project. So I just wanted it to be simple. So that's what Anastasia and I decided on. So yeah, the yearly web hosting and all of that. As far as, you know, time per week, I mean, uploading the videos takes so much longer than you think. So like I upload, oh, and by the way, I did a lot more right when I launched. So yes, I would say that when I was building the website and when it first launched, I was easily, this may sound scary, I would say I was easily immersed in it for about 20 hours a week. I mean, it was so much work on the front end. That what's cool though now is that it's so little work for me. Because I paid, you know, I did it in the beginning. So now what I do is I, like Jessica, load 2 new videos a month. So every other Sunday. But say, for example, on Sunday morning, I get up and I'm like, oh my God, I forgot to edit. It's a 4-hour process because you've got to edit. That may only take 20 minutes, but then the uploading, it makes no sense to me why uploading a 20-minute video can take sometimes 3 hours, but it does. It's the craziest thing. So you do need to be smart about maybe editing and then uploading it and go to bed. And the next morning it'll be ready for me. That's usually what I do. Yeah. And the login issues are, Jessica, for me too. I mean, or for customer service stuff. I think because I'm not on YouTube, I get a little different consumer. People, I don't think I deal with as much comments, maybe. Like maybe we've talked about you deal with that kind of stuff. But I definitely, login issues are a big thing. So I have to deal with, then I'd say I'm in the middle of a workday teaching at my studio for 6 hours and I get a login issue at 8 and I'm not going to be done until 2. That makes me feel icky because I want to be able to help people right away. And you just, so that's the part that is the hardest for me.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. So everybody, another question that everybody has. Okay, so can you actually, after investing all this time, can you actually make income, make profits from running an online studio? And I don't expect you ladies giving out like the exact numbers of what you're making, what you're bringing in, but like, I don't know, maybe you have some kind of like ballpark. Is it just your main source of income right now for you personally? Is it just, does it compensate or cover certain costs that you have? However you would like to share that, what would you say about like your profit? How is it helping you financially running your online studio?
I would sorry, I would say you want to think about who your clients are that you are going to reach out to. So if I still had a brick and mortar, and I, like Carrie does, and like she had said, we're not all in a position necessarily to be known right away. I mean, most of us probably aren't. And so most of your clients are going to be the ones walking in the door, if that's the situation that you're in, if you don't have an online or social media presence. So you kind of want to ask yourself, well, what can I do to make more money from them? And to me, my thing was always, well, when they move, they're gone. Or I'm a physical therapist. So when they're done with PT and they don't want to spend money on their Pilates, then they're gone. How do I retain them? How can I keep them as a client when they move or when their kids start school or when they have that baby and they can't come in? And that's where I think you can start to think of it as an adjunct. You can sell individual videos. You can do a membership. You can do live stream classes. Leslie Logan has a really good model for some of those things. So you have to be a little creative, but it really depends, I think, on you. If you just want it as that adjunct, sure, you can make a couple $100s a month. Probably you have to be willing to market it and tell people about it. If you are like me, where you sell your studios and you think, oh, I need an income now. Like, can I actually do this? Can I do this? I don't know. And so it kind of has built up over time, but there's many prongs to it. So YouTube happened to get really big for me. I didn't really mean for it to, it just did. So I do make some advertising money off of that. But YouTube for me, I don't put all my time into that to make that my primary income. I'm not an influencer. That's not for me the area I want to get into. But YouTube is the second biggest search engine, second only to Google. And so people find me on YouTube, and it's the biggest driver of traffic back to my membership site. So that's what YouTube does for me. And it has some really interesting things where you can put cards on there. So my very first product was my biggest video on YouTube is a scoliosis video, and it just exploded somehow. And it's still really big. And I thought, how can I use that? Like, that's not benefiting me. It's sitting free on YouTube. So I made a 1-hour scoliosis workout and I videoed it and I put it up on my website for sale for $20. And on my scoliosis video on YouTube, I had a card that said, for the full length version, click here. And it takes them straight to purchase it. And I remember I was at the zoo with my 1-year-old daughter and my husband on a Tuesday. And I checked my email. I'm like, we just sold a video. I just made $20 and I'm at the zoo. And for me, that's how it started. I know. I'm going to buy a Coke at the zoo because I made $20. But 20 bucks is nothing. But when you come from this idea of I need to see a client for an hour to make $60 and then I pay rent and then I pay for water and utilities, or I made this video and now I can sell hundreds of them and make 20 bucks each time and I don't do anything. Like Carrie said, the work is up front. So this is a long-winded answer to say it's really however you want it to be. But for me, that was the light that went off. But I have many things. So now it's YouTube, advertising. I do sell one-off products like that. So if you don't want this whole membership thing yet, think about that way. I have a endometriosis video. I have a whole prenatal series. I created an online CEC course with videos and slides. So I do a lot of that kind of one-off thing. I do a boot camp 3 times a year where people pay for online videos and we do a private Facebook group with it and we get to know each other. And then I have the membership site. So between all of that, it's enough that I can stay home with my kids, and also do what I love. So I still go out and teach continuing education courses. I can still do all that, and I can walk away for a week and know that it's still going to be okay because I'll still make a little money. Am I making what I did as a studio owner? Probably not quite yet, but if I stick with it, then it should surpass it at some point. But again, that's just where I am in life and my season of life right now. So that's my answer.
How about you, Carrie?
So I would just say that it builds slowly. That's the biggest thing to be ready for. And I think that if you're like me and you're working at a studio and that's your full-time gig, and you're not trying to make an adjustment for having children and things like that, because I think that's a different scenario. I think my biggest thing to say is don't look at it as a way to quit your day job. Like, I think you need to go to work every day and do the things that made us fall in love with this work to begin with, and just stay engaged in your world. My business has grown more than I ever dreamt it would. I had a goal of X amount of members, and it's been many more than that. But I feel like that was just like really lucky. It could have not done that. And I think, if it helps, like, I only work on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday now. I just, that's a change I've made about in the last year. And I would say that the compensation of me having my online studio, it's like teaching, 6 to 10 privates a week, depending on, the month or whatever. So it's kind of worked out. Like, it's been kind of nice that I've been able to kind of take a breath on 2 of those days of the week and still, have income there. So yeah, it's been, I don't regret doing it at all, even with all the headaches and the tears that came with losing video content. I love it. So definitely worth doing.
Awesome. And I would say, I think something Carrie said, don't quit your day job necessarily and keep doing it. And I think that's so important. And I think that'll set you aside because yes, there are so many, influencers out there and fitness influencers doing big things online. So don't compare yourself. Don't try to be like them because we're not like them. Figure out kind of what your niche is, but also realize, like, the clients who like to watch me, a big part is because I'm a physical therapist, I think. So I reach those people who can't get to PT. I reach a lot of rural people. I think it's the YouTube thing. But yeah, our biggest difference, like with Carrie and I think, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, is my demographic is big time home fitness folks. Like I'm for students, and I for a while tried to get to teachers, and I realized that's not who's finding me in my workouts. So if you have a niche, stick with it. Don't try to fight it. Just realize that's what your niche is. So for me, it's that, and Carrie's really for teachers. So that's why there's room for all of us.
I really wanted it to be teachers and students. Like, my enthusiasm behind it was I wanted to be for everyone. And I really kept trying for that for the first year or so. And then I finally went, what am I doing? Like, teachers are the ones reaching out to me. They're the ones commenting on my Instagram account. They're the ones asking questions on Facebook, and they're the ones subscribing. And so, that's what I did. I figured out without, it was put in front of me that your niche is working with teachers. So
yeah. And I realized too, when I'm like, mine is students, what am I doing? And I'm like, Carrie is there for teachers, and Pilates Anytime is there for this. I mean, there's room for all of us, but definitely, like, for me, I still see a couple clients a week. Like I said, I teach courses. I think that's what makes me a good online teacher. Like, so many people will say, I was watching your video and you said just what I should do with my abs at the right time. I thought you were in the room. And I'm like, yeah, that's because I've taught, like Carrie said, for 20 years. I didn't try to jump online and skip the whole learning process we need to go through. So don't be afraid to learn and go slow with it. I think that's what sets us apart, to be honest. I've seen so many people declare that they're having an online membership, they launch it, and then I never hear about it again because I think they just went out of the gate too fast and it blew up. So don't be afraid to go slow and figure out what you want from it. What's going to excite you about it? If you don't love it, you shouldn't do it. So what's really exciting to you about it?
You have, I think you have to have that long-term strategy. It's not like you're going to be a one-hit wonder all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I mean, you might, but I mean, most likely you have a higher chance of, entering NFL football team than being a one-hit wonder on YouTube or something like that. So, and you know how likely that is for most of us over here watching this webinar and talking here. Yeah, but there are a couple of questions that came in, so I'm going to read them real fast so we can move on. So one thing is Teresa was asking Jessica, do you have any kind of like, she's saying, do you have any kind of client login issues or anything like that? Because it seems like it would be a technological nightmare.
I mean, it can be. I'm a little bit of a control freak, so I never had anyone help me until I hired Anastasia so my 3-year anniversary, I think, was January. And in December, I brought her on. I'm like, redo my website, make it beautiful like Carrie's, please. I need help. I have too many videos, help me. And she did, and I was so thankful. But I had learned, I think yes, it can take time technologically. If you have a brick and mortar, again, I don't, so I can stay up late and figure this stuff out if I have to. I have pulled my hair out. The key is to find a company that has good customer service. If you're looking at this, I use SiteGround for my hosting company, and they are great with customer service. Do not use GoDaddy as a hosting company. You can use them to get your domain, but do not use them as a hosting company. If you don't know what some of these things are, feel free to email either of us, and I'm sure we can explain it. But yeah, it does take time. And so in that case, if you're determined to do it, have an assistant. If you have a brick and mortar and you have an office manager, bring them on and say, you know what, we're going to do this together. I need you to learn part of it, and I'm going to learn part of it, and we'll figure it out. But I think it's also just like your brick and mortar. If the power goes out in the middle of a class, you can either make it fun and people trust you because they've come to you and they really like you, or they can freak out and you freak out, and what are you going to do? So it's the same. If you're building trust and you have maybe Facebook groups and you're emailing them back fast, then I think it's okay. Sometimes I'll even say, I am so sorry you're dealing with this. Give us, which I always say us, even though it's just me, give us 48 hours and we'll get back to you with a response. So if nothing else, I think just getting a response makes them happy.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, they don't, I mean, even they might be emailing you, but you have to have that mindset that it's not a life or death situation. It's an access to an online studio. Yeah. I mean, it's nothing major. If they have to wait a couple of hours, they'll wait. I mean, how many times do we all have to deal with something like that?
Yep. I've had that problem with Pilates anytime. You go to, and something's just not working and you go, I'll go to plan B. So I've never had anyone like get mad at me. You know what I mean? Because at most it's going to be 6 hours or so that I can't get to them. Technology is great. Like Jessica said, I mean, say I'm in kid pickup, I don't have the laptop or something like that. I can just from my phone respond quickly. Give me 2 hours. I'll be with you and I'll get this fixed for you as soon as I can. And people are generally, it's just for me, I don't want, like, it makes my heart beat when someone's having a login issue and I'm like, oh, they're trusted me with their money, but people are generally kind when it comes down to it. So don't let that freak you out either, but.
No. So I guess your specific question, like I haven't had login issues. I did have probably 2 years ago, we did something to update the site and I had a full week where not a single member could get into the website and I was on the phone constantly. And like Carrie said, I was like, oh my gosh, I was just emailing the members every day. I'm so sorry. This is what's going on. This is where we are. This is what's happening. I didn't lose a single person from it. I had more people say, oh, technology is hard sometimes. Oh, no problem. You're doing a great job. And then I just wanted to do this. I gave everyone, I I think like 2 weeks free or something. I tacked it on to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was so happy. There's always a solution. There's always this. And when it comes to your time, if you find it's taking too much time, you just hire somebody to help. You hire a VA a little bit. You bring in someone like Anastasia. I mean, she has been invaluable to me, honestly, to help with the website part of things. But I think there's solutions to every problem if you want it bad enough.
Yeah. So one question that also came in is, have you ladies done any client feedback research? For example, who likes your online courses and why they like it, and why some other people don't like it? Did you do anything like that?
You can go, Carrie.
There are certain things that, so I know that is a fantastic idea and that's important. I know. And I did do that one time. It's kind of like the way I feel about the way I teach at my studio. If I'm not for you, you're not going to come see me. And I even refer people out to other studios and tell them about my other instructors, because if it's not working, then it's just not a good fit. So for my online studio, one of the things that I've really had to recognize, because the online world can be intimidating and people will say things behind their computer that they might not say to your face, I've decided, at least for the time being, that I'm just going to keep doing me. And I work my butt off. I do the very best I can, to the point that I run myself into the ground. I mean, I can't do any better than I'm doing right now, is what I know. So while I do look forward to asking for feedback at some point, right now, I'm just delivering the best I can. So I don't know if that helps. That's almost getting a little like, I don't know. Sorry.
And I think you can use, like, things have surprised me. I tend to use sometimes YouTube for me to see like how a video will do. So sometimes the feedback to me isn't actually verbiage from people. It's how are they receiving this video. So like I'll put one up and it surprises me so much how many views I get. And I think, wow, okay, I need to follow up with that. So then I do a second one, and then I make one for sale. And then there's something like, I had to go through IVF. It was a really, really hard time for me. I didn't find any online resources. And I'm like, I am going to make some workout videos because I needed it. This is the best idea ever. I don't know. I've sold like 10 maybe in 2 years. So sometimes those things are the most important feedback I think you can get, is just learning what your audience wants. Yeah, you won't know what they're going to buy sometimes. And then once you do have an audience built up, like I'm like, Carrie, I don't necessarily want to take it public. There are a lot of crazy people on YouTube. I'll tell you right now, I get crazy comments. So I'm careful how public I go there with things. It's mostly, like I said, a traffic driver. But I have these Facebook forums, and I have a Facebook group that's only for my unlimited members, my membership members. And just today I put up, okay, crowdsourcing time. What workout do you guys want next month? I'm filming this week. Give me all your ideas, and then we're going to vote tomorrow. And that's what I'm going to film, because I have the luxury of doing that. I can film whatever they want because I need some ideas anyway, because I'm out of them. And then it makes them feel so great that they're contributing. They're like, this is awesome. This is a site for me. I want to stay because next month she's going to do my video. So I think sometimes you can take it that way. And yeah, I've gotten feedback that has been really mean, I feel like. And so I don't take it. And then I've gotten some that I think, wow, that is a good idea. I'll see if I can incorporate that. But you have to be confident in yourself, and you have to be willing, just like with your regular clients, you have to be willing to brush it off.
And something to keep in mind for everybody, and I've been also like in all kind of online stuff as well, but people are, I forgot the exact statistics, but 8 to 9 times, something like that, more likely to leave a negative feedback than to say anything positive.
Yeah.
So, and this is just how most of like our human brains work. When something happens that just, even like you're having a bad day, they just wanna kind of like slam somebody. And online people usually are the easiest targets for that. Just slam them, comment, bully, whatever it is, it's easy because there's no nothing that, nobody can say anything. It's always just online. Who cares? I walk away from it, I feel good because I just slammed somebody. And unfortunately that's part of it, and you just have to develop a little thicker skin for that, like Jessica was saying. Just kind of brush it off, not pay attention, but focus on the things that people say they're positive, because for each one that you receive positive, there are at least 7 or 8 more who feel the same but will never express it.
Yeah.
So
by the way, one quick thing, if you do want to do a survey to find out what people want, SurveyMonkey's great. That's what we used, and it really was. It was great. Now that I'm having a conversation, I'm like, oh, I should do another one, but I'm taking notes, everyone. I'm learning.
I know I need these slides, Anastasia.
I will. Yeah, we'll do. Okay, so we have another.
Sorry, I have about 2 or 3 minutes till I have to go to kindergarten pickup. Yeah. But you guys can keep going. But just FYI.
Okay, so I will let you. So we talked about YouTube to generate income and traffic. Online marketing 101, and I'll just let Jessica talk a little bit on her end because she has to leave, and we'll finish up with some of the Q&As. We'll do those after Jessica leaves. So let us know what, and one of the questions was, how do you find products, which we kind of like covered that one. You just talked about that. And how do you find your audience, and what kind of marketing you're doing on it? Do you do any kind of like advertising, paid advertising? Are you just doing social media? What marketing works for you?
I have tried Facebook ads, and I'm not again, I didn't hire anyone, and I'm not an expert by any means, so they didn't help me for my situation. But like for Momentum Fest, they work really well, so I think you can try them out. But Facebook ads didn't really work for me, so I really don't do paid advertising. YouTube is probably my biggest advertiser, again, just because that's where my audience is. Carrie has a much bigger Instagram audience than I do. And so that's probably a really big place for her that she pulls people in. So I think it just depends, where is your audience, and go there. Just go where they are and tell them about it. I don't know why. I had this membership site for 2 years before I realized I'm not telling anyone on Instagram about it. Like, I never talk about it. I don't know if we have this problem selling or what. But I realized I would talk about it here and not talk about it here. So for me, I just tried to make all channels flow together. And I would say too, pick kind of your prime product, whatever it is, and make everything flow to that. If you have too many things, it will be hard for people to figure out what you want them to do. So pick something that you want to sell, or your prime thing, have everything else kind of flow to that. And then start, if you haven't already, you need an email list. That's my other big marketing place. Mm-hmm. So you need to put something up on your website and start collecting emails. You can give away a freebie, obviously, for them to get more email, or for them to get something when they give you an email. But my biggest marketing is directly to my email list and through YouTube. And then anytime I do a YouTube video, I put it up on Facebook. Obviously, I put it on my blog. I put it on Instagram and talk about it. And then I do have Facebook groups, and those are just like a private community group. Like, hey, friends, where I talk about more. I'll throw up pictures of what I ate that day and talk about it. I talk about the boot camp coming. People ask about natural skincare. I mean, it's just turned into that, but at least they're talking. So that's another place that I market. But for me, it's those things. And those do take time. I mean, social media is what takes the most of my time every day. And so you need to be prepared for that. If you have an online business, you have to set some time up and figure out a way to fall in love with social media a little bit. That's what's hard for me, I think.
Yeah, social media is definitely like, you have to embrace it. It's just you can't escape it and just run away. Right. So Lindsay asked, and I'm gonna let you go, Jessica, but set up new Facebook groups for topics or themes, or keep everybody on one page or in one group?
I do it, again, very strategically, and I do it just for products. Like, so for my membership site for Unlimited, it's included. and they get a group just for them. Not everyone uses it. I mean, I would say less than half, but the people who use it are lifers. I feel like they'll never cancel. They're in there asking each other questions, talking about the workout of the day that they loved so much. They tell me what they want. I get a lot of great feedback. I'm in there talking to them a couple times a week. So I use it for that. And then when I do the boot camp 2 or 3 times a year, we have a Facebook group just for that, so I can talk to them and keep them motivated. But otherwise, no, it's too much for me. Otherwise, honestly, I just have those couple groups, and I make sure I touch base here and there, and that I ask questions or answer questions. But I don't spend a ton of time there. I just make sure they know they're loved, so that when I want to sell something, they buy.
That's right. Say marketing.
And if you guys do have any other questions, you can just email me, jessica@jessicavallantpilates.com. I know it's a lot to sift through, but I'm happy to talk about it. And I'm sorry I have to go, but I have kindergarten.
Okay. Well, thank you so much,
right,
Jessica. Love
Bye,
you.
guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Anastasia.
Bye, Jessica.
Okay. Bye. I have no idea how to turn it off, so just ignore me while I figure this out.
Okay. Yeah, you just figure out. Okay, Carrie can start talking about. Oh, here we go. So, Carrie, what kind of marketing worked for you?
So for me, the best marketing has been doing Instagram or Facebook posts the day that a new video goes live. And just, I might just edit a clip out of the video, or I may create like a little flowing scene of little bits and pieces of it. But that's the absolute best. I would really like to get into doing Instagram ads. I think it could be great for me, and I'd love to follow up and tell you guys how it goes. I feel I have to learn how to do them or hire someone to do them. And I really do try to keep my costs pretty low for my online studio because I'm really happy with the money it's making. So I'm just kind of careful to just add another expense to it. But yeah, that's let's see if I made another, yeah, that's, oh, the other thing I do is like if I go to conferences, I usually do something for the goodie bags or something like that. So that's been a really good way to do it. That helps a lot when I do a conference and do some type of promotion there. And even if it's just simply going up and meeting people and saying, hey, I'm Carrie, and it just kind of naturally goes into that, telling them about the studio. So that works well.
Yeah. Because obviously for you, conferences is where your ideal clients are. They're teachers. They're always looking for that.
Yeah. I mean, you go to the Pilates Method Alliance conference and you're there with 1,000 Pilates instructors. You might find at least 10 that are going to subscribe to your studio. So.
Yeah, so a couple, since it's just you and me left here, so we're gonna answer a couple of other questions. One was about, let's see, what was the question? I missed it. It was somewhere over there. So Sylvia is asking, is when using other instructors' ideas or tips from somebody in your video, in your online studio, are you actually, isn't it like stealing it from someone?
So I kind of have this thing. So you want to get real freaked out about this idea of stealing things. Go to Pilates anytime and plan your workout, and all you think about is like, wait, did I do that in someone's class? Is that mine or is that someone else's? And I mean, it can cause you to really freak out. My girlfriend, who just went for the first time, was completely freaking out that she couldn't remember anything that she was doing and where she learned it. Which leads me to being a great instructor, in my opinion, is like exposing yourself to lots of different teachers and lots of different ideas, and watching Instagram and the videos people post and getting inspired. Just last night, I just saw something on Instagram, and I work with a group of men who are really tall, and it was a great exercise for people who are bigger than the chair, the one to chair. And I was like, God, I never would have come up with that. So now I'll simplify that answer. I believe that we're never really stealing from each other. I believe we're learning from one another. And I believe that when you make it your own, then I can't if Anastasia teaches an exercise and I get inspired by it, I can't teach it just the exact same way Anastasia did. It's going to come from me. So the idea of stealing each other's stuff, I think, is it's a idea I don't subscribe to. I just believe I get inspired by people.
Yeah, and you can also always, like, if you get some like tips or cues from somebody, or get something, like, feel free to give them a shout out during your video. Say like, hey, I saw, so like, here in her video showing, like, on Instagram video, she showed this move and I really wanted to try it, or something like that, that you will give that person that you saw it from. Maybe she saw it somewhere else, we don't know that at that point, but you will give them some, the credit for what they've done. And if it's something that's really specific, but a lot of times we all learn from somebody. We all went through teacher training programs, and we got our training somewhere. So it's not like if you take word by word somebody's workout and put it in place and then record it and present it as yours, yes, maybe at that point we're in a different realm of stealing. But who would do that? Why would you?
I can't even imagine that, but maybe people do. I don't know. People, like, with my own online studio, I mean, what I hope is I'm hoping to inspire teachers. Like, I know what it felt like to feel like I was the only person in my town by myself. And I felt like I had, no support or inspiration going on outside of, well, I didn't have any, and I couldn't afford to go to conferences that time. My business wasn't making that kind of money. So I'm doing my studio so people can take my content and make it their own and get excited about their work again, because it's so easy to get burnt out.
Mm-hmm. It is. So another question, and I kind of answer it in the comments. If you have something else to add to it, I'll just read it out for everybody. Do you film only yourself doing workouts, or teach online classes, or have clients join your brick and mortar class via Skype and FaceTime? So I know you film teaching clients as well as just doing workouts yourself. Do you ever like film actually like a class? A workshop? No. Yeah. So that kind of.
I think that's really important because, again, I'm a studio owner, and I think it has to be totally separate. When you're filming, there's some stop and start and interruption. Now, I've invited my regular clients to be a student in a filming, but never ever do I take up class time to film for my online studio.
Cool. So let's see, I'm kind of getting through. Some people had to jump over here already. So Teresa, I'm gonna read out her comment. It's probably will go more towards me. Teresa, I have Vimeo Pro as my Bone Smart DVDs for streaming. So I guess I can add other videos to sell individually or set up a membership. It seems like there's another piece that I'm missing. So if you have Vimeo Pro, if you're just selling individual products, so you can individual videos, then yes, you can set up a very simple PayPal shopping cart, and they purchase and then they have access. Now, the only thing here, if you don't have some kind of membership set up or something, anybody with a link will be able to access it. So if they have a link, if somebody, for example, purchases your video and they tell their aunt or their niece or something, oh, I just watched that video, purchased that video, here you go, use my link, log in. And plus also people online searching, they might be able to find that stuff just by doing some kind of specific search. So you need to have a system in place, and this is where those customer login emails that you were asking about over there, all those things come in place. You need to have an actually dedicated client login area where all their protected content is. So whatever they paid for, they can access. If they didn't pay for it, they can't access. And you can get, sometimes you can get very specific about like even limiting to how many people can be logged in using the same account. I mean, for a lot of times it's just, it doesn't make sense to go through the trouble, but you can, okay, in case you're thinking like, oh, somebody's sharing their login details with somebody across the state or across, whatever, across the country. So this is where it's important to have that. If you can add videos, but you want to make sure that you have that part set up to where it's nice and secure. Okay. Let me see. Okay, I think, okay. Where do you film videos? At your studio, at home, or at a photo studio? And how often do you do video recordings? Do you record one video per week, or you record 20 videos for half a year?
So I film at my Pilates studio, and I've done certain things to make the setting suitable to film, so there's as little distraction in the background as possible. That does, Jessica mentioned, that takes some time to get set up. So to set up your lights and to set up your studio so it looks as clean and crisp as possible is really important. So let's see, it's studio at home, and how often do you? So I do also, Jessica mentioned, like we batch. So for example, this Friday I plan to film, and I want to film at least 4 workouts. What that does is it sets me up nicely for if I can't film for a few weeks, then I have stuff that I can still publish each Sunday. So I highly recommend not trying to do it, even when it comes to Instagram videos and things like that. I always batch that. I film, 5, 6, 7 exercises and then post them as the week goes on. I don't film each thing independently.
Yeah, and I think it also makes sense because a lot of times the setup is what takes the most time, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Like setting up the lights and everything else. Like I feel like once you're set up, you want to get as much of that filming out of the way so you don't have to think about setting that up and then cleaning it up and all that stuff. And I believe Jessica, she's filming her workouts in her house from what I saw since she left. So if you're doing it at home, then especially it's really important that you create like a batch of videos, because you have family, you have to clean up your house, you have to have your dedicated space cleaned up, lights and everything. If you have, like her, she has young children, you don't want any kids coming up and trying to trip on the lights and trying to play with them. Not a good idea over there. So yes, definitely setting it up where you have enough content and just kind of like finding time that works for you, planning it out. Okay, another question. Have you taught a client who has a home reformer via Skype or FaceTime? Is the clarity good enough to see their form? And would you charge the same as in-person instruction?
Yeah, I do that. I teach Skype lessons, and they're great. They're really fun. I would never do them if I did not feel like I was providing a great service. And that was something that I made the decision on early on. If I didn't feel like they were getting their money's worth, I would not just sit there and call out, exercises. I can see form really well. I have a pretty ridiculously keen eye for that, but I can see it, and I feel great about that. And let's see, FaceTime clarity. I charge a little bit more than what I charge in my studio. Mostly because I live in a small town in North Carolina, and the rates down here are a lot cheaper than they are across the rest of the world. And I mean, I Skype with people across the world. So, it's not a huge jump in price, but it is a little bit more. And yeah.
So you feel like the clarity, you can see their form and everything good enough?
Yeah, but I will tell you, this is one thing. My Wi-Fi at my studio is not fantastic. So I work with people, like the people I work with right now, I know really well, and I work with them in my house because my Wi-Fi is better there. That's the hardest thing, is if you lose connectivity, that makes it, again, like I just take people's money very seriously, and it makes me like really upset if I lose them and something interrupts our session. So I think you need to make sure you have fantastic Wi-Fi. you know, you can email me. I can give you some other tips on that. But I love doing Skype sessions. It's really fun for me. I love them.
Do you ever do it with more than one person at a time, or is it like almost like a group, or just a private?
I have only done private lessons. I've never taught a group. So I don't know, Anastasia, do you and the girls at the studio want to do a group one day?
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, no, I haven't. I've only done private lessons.
Okay, awesome. So I don't see any other questions. If I missed anything, let me know right now in the chat so we can answer that. But other than that, I think we covered everything. I'm just scrolling through, make sure that.
I just want to make one comment too that I jotted down before we got started.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can see statistics and stuff like that on all of our, websites and, YouTube videos and all of that. And one of the things that I try really hard not to track, and I encourage anyone who does this to not track, is your canceling subscribers. That's just going to happen. Think about your daily life and the things you do and the reasons why you may decide to cancel a subscription. I don't look at that at all, because it makes your heart beat just a little bit and it can upset you. And I just do the very best I can with it. I love it and I work hard. And so if people cancel, I don't take it personally. If it is personal, great. There's other people out there for them. And I just kind of look at it that way. So I think that just like we all know with social media posting, if you don't get a certain number of likes or a certain amount of views, sometimes that hurts your feelings. Just try to let that stuff go, because that is like energy in your life that you don't need. You got to keep it all as positive as possible. Life's hard now.
Yeah, agree. Yeah, totally. Yeah, you can't be focused on that negative stuff, because, and especially in online world, that happens even more than in real, because it's so easy.
Yeah.
You're not face to face with anybody, and a lot of people do trials and things like that just to check you out, not necessarily because they're 100% ready to buy in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I've done that with, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but yeah, it's like, oh, it's 2 weeks free. Cool. I'll do that.
Yeah.
So I think that's just normal and it's not personal, and so don't track the cancels.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Just keep on going. As long as you have the signups coming in, that's the most important thing.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. Well, okay. I don't see anything. If anybody has any other questions or anything like that, you can email us. So you guys can find all our contact information on the website. So it's JessicaValantPilates.com for Jessica, CarriePagesPilates.com for Carrie, and PilatesBridge.com for me. But most of you guys probably know me because you received my email to sign up for it, for this webinar.
I love it.
I'm just reading everything. If nothing else comes in, thanks everybody for listening in, and thank you, Carrie, so much for sharing your time.
Bye, everyone. I hope it helped.